What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Segment Podcast. This is episode 178, and I have in studio virtually, we got the Shimano 7. In the picture, looking from left to right, we got CJ Figueroa, Dylan Lee, Stu Barela, Mikah Figueroa, Micah Jones, Rainy Wyman, and Malik Wyman. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the Shimano 7. What's up, everybody?
What's up, Mark?
What's up, Mark?
Yes, we're here. I think we're here.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
we're here.
We're good. Dude, it's so great to see you guys. I've heard so many good things about you all. I know some of you from the trails, and some of you just kill it out there. And
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
yeah, heck yeah. I've seen you guys on Instagram. First of all, let's start with the beginning. How did you guys all become the Shimano 7? And anybody can take that one.
You want to start from there and go this way, or?
Sure.
Yeah, let's start right to
Well,
left.
we've been kind of riding with each other for a while.
Yeah.
And so on Laguna Canyon Riders we started, and now we've all became good buds, and then now Milo's helping us out. And we're good friends with Steve Blick. Blick's been helping us out, and now we're all like best friends. It's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. What is it? Did you guys start on the race team, like Laguna Canyon race team, and then evolve into the Shimano 7? Is that where it started from?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's how.
Yep.
Yeah, it started with the team.
That is sick. And you guys freaking rip. I mean, for the people that are out there that haven't heard of the Shimano 7, definitely check out their Instagram. You can go to, there's Laguna Canyon Riders that highlights you guys. And I mean, there is just so many different skill sets. Would you say your guys' skill set is more like free ride outside of the race scene, or are you guys all over the place?
I would say most of us, the Shimano 7 is based on downhill racing, and then we'll also do our enduro racing, and obviously go out and hit some jumps, get some photos, have a good time. But we're definitely focused on racing.
But outside of the racing, we're kind of everywhere. We're either on the trails in Laguna or San Clemente, or we'll be free riding in San Clemente, or sometimes even in Utah or other places like that.
That's dope. I remember we did Brett Tippie was in town. One of the legendary mountain bikers, Brett Tippie, was in town. We did a group ride, and I remember I was covering that, and we were heading out to the trails, and I looked over with my camera, and it was either you, CJ,
Eating my bagel.
eating a bagel, doing a wheelie manual down the street, looking into the camera. I was like, damn, that was pretty sick. That's pretty epic.
I was still eating, but I need to get the stees in for the morning. that was right here in San Clemente. My morning stees while also getting my morning breakfast.
Yes, not the trails. That was insane. And then I also see on here champions on Instagram. It labels you guys as champions. Can someone talk about that a little bit?
That was basically during the Team Big Bear Enduros. So I think it was last year, the year before that, we were like the Enduro overall champions for the Big Bear races.
Yeah, that was our Enduro series.
Yeah.
That one's local to us.
That's cool. What's that like? Is that like it's a series like the Kenda Cup out here at Vail? Or
Yeah,
they do
exactly.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah. So it's at that series, and basically they add up all the points from each race. They pick, I think, 5 or 7 racers from each team, and basically all the points add up for your team at each race, and then whoever has the most points wins the championship.
So, yeah.
Damn.
You can't riders stick it home.
Yeah. Heck yeah, you guys took it home. It's next level to do stuff like that, and I want the other kiddos who are out there in the U.S. and abroad that are listening in to realize that it's not just raw talent. I mean, there's a lot of hard work. You know, the Figueroa twins, one of the things that I remember talking to your dad about is he said you guys are putting in the work and making it happen. So can somebody talk about what it takes to be at this level, you know, as far as training goes and maybe diet?
So you guys take it away.
Well, so as far as training goes, we always have been eating healthy our entire lives. So we try to like cut out as much sugar as we can and just focus on the healthy food. So we're always charged up and ready every morning. And so yeah, eat healthy is very important. Get good sleep. We say normally 9 hours. And then training, we get to go to the gym twice a week. We try to stay on that program. We'll hit full body workout, including sprints as well. And then also hydrating is also very important. And then also staying consistent and riding a lot because that's what you need for riding and racing.
Yeah, right. The timing of everything. It's hard. We have people out there in the audience. Electric Trail Surfer is out in the Reno area. He says, Shimano 7, love you. You guys got fans out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Heck yeah. We got let's see, Air Blair, Coach Blair. There you go. Rainey, Malik, Micah, Stu, CJ, Micah, and Dylan. Love you, kiddos.
We love you, Blair.
Thank you, Blair.
Thank you.
That is awesome. And for the folks at home, this may not be listed by the name from left to right as we can see it on screen, but if you guys wouldn't mind just going through the pan real fast, raise your hand and say your name so the people at home can tell who you are.
Okay, I'm Rainey, everybody. I'm Malik.
I'm CJ.
I'm Micah Jones.
I'm Stu Barela.
And I'm Mikah Figueroa.
I'm Dylan Lee.
Heck yeah. I love it. I love it. And how long has the Shimano 7 been together? How long have you guys been a group?
Basically like 2 months, I would say, or since the beginning of the Fontana downhill series. So probably like around 2-3 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. And yeah, so we've basically been going through their program on Shimano's website, and we've been watching all their videos, learning a bunch from Blake and all of the pros that are also on Shimano's program. And yeah, we've been learning a bunch about social media, how we're supposed to be posting, and all the training it takes and connections we've been going through with Blake. It's been a really good experience so far, and we've met a lot of people. Gone out to Sea Otter where Shimano was based out there, and they introduced us to a bunch of pros like Ryan Gilchrist, and we learned a bunch. So yeah.
And
Sick.
So we're basically part of the Shimano Next program, but that's like we're not the only kids part of it. There's also some kids out in BC, so we're just the Shimano 7 for around here in Cali.
Got it. That's
Or the
really
United
cool.
States.
So, yeah, that's cool. So I didn't realize that that's part of the program. So basically they take you and they expose you to a bit of everything, like from social media to a bunch of everything. Stu, I'll ask you, what does it feel like when you are showing up and they're like, yeah, you're part of the Shimano 7? Does it feel weird? Does it feel natural? Do you feel good?
It feels good. It's a wonderful community, the Shimano 7, with just a lot of great people. It's a wonderful place to be, and just everyone here supports you, and you're riding. Everyone helps you. It really is just a great thing to be a part of.
That's dope, dude. That's so dope. And freaking Shimano, that's like that's big. Who is your guys' contact at Shimano? Like if there's like a team manager or something like that? Dylan.
We usually go through Blick.
Steve Blick,
The main guy there, and he kind of sets us up through like we're on the email list, and he gives us like the emails like I think weekly or something or monthly, and we got to go through like a kind of a schooling about Shimano.
Yeah.
So like we're not just helping them, like they're like helping us to learn more about their brand.
Yeah.
That's
And
rad.
also every week we're kind of learning new things. So whether it's like social media, how we like make a proper video for sponsors, and then also learning more about the Shimano product and how we can put ourselves out there and tell the story about Shimano. So it's really cool.
Dude, that's like all inclusive. I freaking love that. What is something that you guys learned through this whole program specifically about Shimano that really was like, damn, that's cool?
I would say like their moral is to kind of have everyone work together as a group and not leave anyone out, and definitely taking it as a team and teaching the younger kids all about the sport and then the community, because it's such a good community, and to be involved is like a pretty rad thing to be a part of. So yeah, I think Shimano's main moral is just working together.
That's cool.
Yeah, getting more people on bikes.
And I also think that I think that they do a really good job about really getting us to know, they want us to know the product and know how things work. It's not just oh, we're representing stuff. It's they really want us to know and know how to work on things and all that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and I also think they want our honest truth about everything. So that's also a very important thing, because a lot of riders, when they have their sponsors, are not always honest. They're just trying to get more sales and everything. But honest truth is very important, because that's where you get the most sales, I believe.
Totally. Yeah. Total transparency, genuineness, your experience, what you felt, what what it was like, how it worked. And you guys are definitely putting products to the paces for sure. Definitely for sure. Let's go with Malik. Malik, do you have, when you look back, do you have a memory so far? I know it's just starting out, but is there a memory that really stands out to you about this group?
I really I don't know if I can choose just one, but it's great to just go ride with all these people and go race with all of them at all the races, and seeing them at Sea Otter and bigger races too, and practicing. I don't know if I can choose just a single one though.
I know it's hard, right? You guys are getting so much all at once, and it's so cool. Was there and this is for the whole group, when you guys were at Sea Otter, did it feel overwhelming? Because what is it, 1,000 vendors or something like that?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really fun.
I wouldn't say it was more overwhelming. It was kind of just exciting, because it was a chance to kind of introduce ourselves to the mountain biking, all the, I'm trying to think of it, just all the companies, because it's super important to let everyone know who you are and that you're up and coming racers and everything. So we kind of just saw it as an opportunity to network ourselves as best as we could and early on.
Dude, I love that. Freaking, you guys are on it. I wish I knew what you guys know now. You guys have got a head start on things, man. When it comes to the actual Shimano product and you guys racing and everything, is there one particular product that you wouldn't not have on any new bike? Is there one product that you will take from bike to bike because you just believe in it that much?
For me, at least, I would say I like their pedals. I'm a big fan of just the extra confidence and control I can get from them, and they're super durable.
Dude, that's good.
One product for me, I would say, is definitely the Saint downhill brakes. Those are definitely my favorite. They got really good modulation and super powerful, and it's perfect for race braking. So yeah, I love the brakes for sure, the Saints.
I was just also going to say that it's Shimano Saint brakes, but I swear I wasn't playing. We're just twins. But I was going to say, because I've been loving the Shimano Saints so far, very durable and consistent with the braking bite. And also, when you do need to work on them, whether it's a full flush or just a bubble bleed, I found it pretty simple to figure out how it works and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say they're full any brake that I've tried from them, I have XTs on my enduro bike, and they're just so responsive, and on my downhill bike. So probably the XTs I really like.
Yeah, and I really like the Saint, definitely on my downhill bike, the brakes. And then also, not swapping bike to bike, but the shoes. I have the GE7s, and they are amazing. And same with the eyewear, incredible. I think they're awesome. They come in a set. You get a clear lens and a tinted lens, and they're amazing.
That's awesome.
I want to say I love the XT drivetrain on my enduro bike. It's just a really good, really crisp shifting. It's really easy to work on, and it's lightweight, and it's pretty affordable too. So it's really nice. It's by far my favorite drivetrain I've used.
Nice. And then what about let's see, we heard Rainy, Stu, Dylan. Did we hear from Dylan?
Yeah. I don't know, all the products are pretty good. I like how they show you like how to work on them too, and just like this simplicity of them. It seems like they're a lot easier to work on than most like other brands. But I don't know. My friend Spencer, he's also has like some Shimano connections, and I tried on his glasses, and those are pretty nice because like sometimes they like magnify when you put on glasses, and you're like, whoa, like the distance is kind of off through like the prism.
Yeah.
Like I have some glasses, and I put his on, and I'm like, I don't know, they just felt super nice.
Sick. That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that in your experience with some of the products there. We had a question on the show last night, and maybe Rainey, you can take this one. The question was, how do we get more girls or women into the racing scene?
I think that is a great question. I feel like a bunch of girls like that I've met, at least younger, like even girls who just don't ride, like even just posting about it, like, and they want to be like, they look up to girls like who ride or girls in the scene. And I think that if you like set a good example and just show them like really how fun it is, and if you're having fun doing it, that they'll have fun doing it. And just like the biking community is just so awesome, especially just all the girls are so nice. So I think just getting more girls in the world would be awesome. But yeah.
Oh, well said. Like for the rest of the group too, when it comes to racing, say people are afraid, is there really anything to be afraid of? Or how do you take that mindset and kind of shift it from afraid to fun?
Yeah, well, I think if you're not having fun, then you're doing something wrong. But definitely fear is a factor when you're biking. The biggest thing to like clear up though is making sure your bike is safe and ready to go out on the trails. So if your bike isn't up to date and service and everything, then that's a huge factor. But I think it's normal for people to be scared. It just takes time and repetition to like build up your speed, your confidence on your bike and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it just takes work. So you got to expect to be scared at first for sure.
And then as far as like the day of the jitters, do you guys still get the jitters at all on race day?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
is
It
it?
never goes away.
But there are some days sometimes when you feel like you prepped a little bit better and you're more confident, or even if you just had a better day in practice or seating. So yeah, sometimes it's not as bad as the other days, but we definitely always have those.
And I feel like having the jitters, it's like good in a way because it's like, unless you're like really scared, but being excited is good. But I feel like you can't be like overconfident. Like there has to be a little bit of nerves in there, and you can work through it though.
It's your adrenaline going.
Yeah, it's your adrenaline.
Yeah, that's true, right? It feels like the fuel, the competitive fuel. If that goes away, then it's probably one of those things like, oh no, what's wrong? Why am I not nervous?
Yes.
Why do I not feel this? For racing, what are your guys' aspirations in the mountain bike racing scene?
I would say for the racing scene, it's just like so good to get out there with all your friends and have a good community with like on your back and stuff. And then you get to go out there and push yourself to your limit and look up to all these pros and learn from them. And then obviously a lot of industry, big people in the industry are out there. So it's nice to learn from them as well and just improve yourself mentally and physically out on the track, and then kind of show everyone where you're at and how hard you worked on the off season. But yeah, I think building ourselves up to pro would be super nice. We're going out to nationals and stuff like that, so we're getting ready for sure.
Yeah.
Sick. Everybody else kind of on the same page, or does everybody?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah. National champions. Damn. I could say I had them on the
World
podcast.
Yeah, world
champions.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Go
I don't want to
ahead,
be
brother.
for like world champion. I also want to be known for like just being a cool person and having fun. You know, like I don't want to like, oh, this guy's really fast and all, but I want everyone to be like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. He's like well represented and he's just a cool person to hang out with.
That's awesome.
That's very important in the marketing industry or in the biking industry with all the marketing and everything.
Totally. Like character is huge, and to be able to be approachable and to be able to hold good conversations with people and have your head on your shoulders firmly, because I'm sure when you are around people and you become more popular and more popular, there's going to be a lot of distractions. So to be able to be that solid individual who has a good game plan that can stay on track, that's going to separate you from the rest.
Yeah. Keep our priorities set.
Exactly, Micah. It's saying here, anybody in the audience still hear the feedback on Mark's mic? Do we have? I can hear a little bit of a feedback. Do you guys have a me on volume over there? If you do, if we could turn down the volume just a little bit.
If we can figure out how to do that.
And I'll check it on my side to make sure.
Okay.
Is that better?
Testing 1 2. It's better. It's better. Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
hear
we
you.
good.
Let's do this though.
Okay. Maybe turn it down just a teeny bit more then if you guys can hear me good.
Can you get rid of that? Oh, yeah.
All right, is that better?
Is that good?
Testing 1 2 3. Oh yeah, I think it went away. Well
Okay.
done. Well done.
Okay, we're back in action.
When it comes to the training that they gave you for social media, because like social media is huge with kids right now. I have a son, he's 13. I love that kiddo, but man, the screens can really like pull his attention. What are some of the things that they're teaching you guys to do for social media, like to use it in your favor, but also to, it's like a double-edged sword sometimes.
No, you guys are good.
Go ahead, Micah.
I would
Or CJ?
say some big things for the posts and social media is you want to get pretty straight to the point, because a lot of people's like interest, it goes away pretty quick. So you want to have a good like cliffhanger or intro kind of, and the video, you don't want it to be too long. You want to have the interest throughout the whole video. And for like captions and stuff like that, you don't want to have too many sponsors on there if you're trying to represent one company in the actual video itself. So you want to keep the caption very straightforward, not too long-winded, and yeah, I mean, tagging Shimano, getting all the captions, like the hashtags right, and I mean that's the biggest takeaways for me.
Yeah, that's good. Straight to the point. It's crazy the amount of how short everyone's attention span is these days when it comes to that stuff. So it's like,
Yeah, you need a really good hook in the start of the video, or else they're just gonna keep scrolling.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you need to be like good, like stuff that you want to see, not stuff that's like
Boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that sets it apart from everything else,
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
which is
I
crazy.
think it's also important for important to put your personality and like your true character also in some of those videos, because then instead of them just liking it because it was a cool video, if they think you have a cool personality, then they'll probably end up following as well. So I think that's important as well.
That is very important. Yeah, to be genuine. Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen it. People are like all one way, and as soon as the camera starts, you're like, "Hey, everybody, how you doing?" And it's just like, "Whoa, where'd that really come from?"
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go to Malik on this one. Malik, what do you have like a program when it comes to posting on social media?
I like to, if I like do a ride and I get clips or something, or if I do a race, I try to post that, especially if they're like good videos or something. Pretty much every race or ride that I do, if I get some videos or if I see a cool section, I ask my sister or something to film me, or she asks me to film her, and then I'll go and make an edit and post that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's always fun when you're out there. It's cool that you have that awareness to think about that, like while you're doing your thing, while you're training, while you're riding, to be aware of the surroundings and what may be a good clip as well. I think that's really cool. How about you? Let's go to Micah Jones. I love that name, by the way. Sorry.
Is that about like the Instagram posting?
Yeah. Do you have like a formula or a rhythm or something that you do to like be consistent with it?
Yeah, so I try to post like every like 1 to 2 weeks about. I try to post like after race results or like if I get cool like clips from riding. I try to put a lot of work into like posting things to make sure they're like good quality posting.
It's awesome. For the group in general, do you guys just use Instagram for your post, or do you guys like use like YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, and do you use their own
Um,
editors, or do you have your own editor?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, that kind of stuff. I mostly edit everything, and I kind of help him sometimes. But yeah, kind of Instagram and TikTok.
And then for my brother and I, we use TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook and YouTube. We both edit our own videos. Yeah, and then we try to post around like once, 1 or 2 times a week, and stay consistent because that's a big part of it.
And then for YouTube as well, we're trying to put some bigger videos out there so we can start making money out of it, but it takes time. So
Yeah, those long form YouTube videos. If you guys figure it out, let me know. Those can be tough, but it's fun. As long as you're having fun, it's awesome.
yeah, it's fun in the process of it. So it's good.
That's right. That's right. We got MTV Tank in the audience. He says, insane, big crew. Tank, that's love Tank. Electric Trail Surfer is saying Shimano XT is the best. I've been using it since the mid 80s. Woo!
That's right.
Yep,
Yeah.
Dang, look at that. He says Shimano brakes are so easy to
That's
bubble
what I was
bleed.
saying.
Yeah.
The bubble bleed, only a couple
Yeah.
minutes, and you're chilling.
Yeah, I would say the
Says
best
Shim-
part about Shimano is they're really on point and consistent. Like that is always the best. They're super sharp with their shifting, and I mean they last very long, and the brakes are super consistent and on point as well.
It's a lot
That's-
easier to work on them, like maintenance and stuff. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to do that.
And because we got all on Shimano this year, I feel like I've had a lot more confidence in my racing and everything, not having to worry about like something's going on with my drivetrain or brakes or anything. I feel very good
That's-
about the Shimano this year. So
Yeah, and what Electric Trail Surfer was saying is Shimano's also very durable.
Super
Yeah.
And everything is super easy to work on if you have to go work on it yourself out at a
That's
race or
cool.
something.
That's cool. That's like one thing you can take off your brain's plate while you're like really trying to focus in on racing. Yeah, that's awesome. Having that confidence in your gear. Definitely. Definitely. Speaking of, Electric Trail Surfer is on the trail as he's listening to the podcast right now. Spoken like a true mountain biker. There we go.
Yeah.
We got Trail Monster out of Arizona. He's saying the stopping power of their brakes are legit. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
They are.
Lots of power.
So the Saints, you guys taught me something. I always heard of the Saints. I didn't know they were made by Shimano.
They're awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people just hear like the type of model and they're like, oh, these ones are the best. These are my favorite, and then they're all over the bikes, and you'll see Saint and
Yeah,
the same
Shimano-
color code.
Shimano's got quite a bit of models, but each model's kind of set for one style of riding. So whether it's like downhill, the Saint is like the downhill set, which is like the drivetrain, the brakes, and everything. They're super durable. That's why they're set for downhill. And then XT and XTR, mostly XT is kind of enduro thing, but you could run that even on enduro with XTR. But XTRs, I'm pretty sure that's their XC set, and then they have all these different models set for different types of riding.
Yeah, and kind of what Micah was saying, like XTRs are just meant to be just like the race spec, like lightest as you can get of the XTs.
And precise.
So yeah.
Wow. Dang. Look at you guys. You guys know your stuff. I love it. I love it. All right. Gonna dig into the mindset a little bit of a racer. And I'm just because I'm curious because I feel like when you're in the race mode, it's almost like everything else goes away when you're in that mode and is just your breathing, your vision, and everything all culminates into this one run. What is it that is, or where are you guys when you're in race mode? Like, what's going on? Are you distracted? Are you focused? Can you tell me a little bit about what it feels like to be in that mode and what kind of mode is that?
Yeah. So like for me, it's like when I'm like getting ready to go for my run, I'm just replaying that run in my mind, like a perfect run to just kind of make sure that I try to get the best run I can have. And then I make sure I'm in my best gear, everything's working, my goggles aren't fogged or anything. And then like once I'm in starting gate, I make sure to have like be in the perfect position, make sure my bike's where I want it to be, make sure my foot on my pedals, like so I can get the most power down out of the start gate. And then I'm just working on my breathing to get that in tuned and focused with the run.
And probably heart rate up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to add on to that, for me, last year, what's changed from last year to this year is last year I feel like I only had my race mode when I was dropping into the my race run and I was about to go and my flip just switched. This year I feel like I'm trying to get in race mode the day of practice and just like getting all my feelings like out of the door and just riding at my best and just making sure everything's where it should be, like components and stuff are feeling good. My lines, I watch the pros go through and then I try all the lines out, whatever feels fastest or whatever my dad thinks looks faster. Then I stick to that, and then I start doing my full pulls, getting that down. And then on my race run, I would say there's a lot of things going through my mind, but at the same time, it feels pretty quiet. Like I'm about to go as fast as I can, but also be very calculated so I don't ruin it in just one corner, one section. I'm like consistent pace, pushing it throughout the whole track.
Yeah.
Love that.
I would sum it up.
Fast.
Yeah, how I'd sum it up is like all the prep is the most important thing because everybody they see you in your race run, they're like, damn, that kid was like just going for it, and that's sketchy and everything. But honestly, how I think of it, it's who preps the best for your race run. All the practice laps and just building your speed up, choosing your lines wisely, and staying focused on your priority. That's the most important. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So it sounds like Malik, yours is like starting with visualization and then preparation. CJ, yours is like flipping the switch earlier on versus flipping it like right in the race gate. And preparation for you, Micah, is kind of your secret sauce in there. What about you? Let's go with Dylan. What's going through your brain when you're race day?
Race day is like full preparation, like just focus on like one task basically, and just the run and like make sure everything's on point, like bike's dialed, suspension's good, tire pressure, and just like go through like kind of like Malik, just visualize the run. Because I don't know, just make sure like nothing's changed, and yeah, just don't think don't overthink it, but think about it enough so you remember the lines and you can put out your best.
You said that exactly when I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, you guys are on the same brainwave. I love that. Rainey, how about you when you're on race day?
I think definitely visualization is really important. I also think like aside from like bike prep, I think like having like your body prepped is really important. Like Malik and I we always do yoga before, stretch out. Make sure to like sprint the like lactic acid out of your legs, so when you're in the start gate, you're already like past that point of like feeling kind of tired, when you start riding and you're kind of like, oh, you kind of got to get warmed up. Like you're already super warm, always stay hot. Like we were just up in Washington and it was cold, like it was 52 degrees and pouring on my race run. And so we're like bundled up at the top, trying to stay warm because you don't want to drop in cold for your race run. Mm-hmm. So just like body prep, I think eating right in the morning is like really important. Hydration, making sure your bike's dialed, and then visualizing your run, getting all your lines down before starting.
That's fantastic. Yeah, flexibility, making sure the body is good, warmed up, ready to push, basically ready to push the limit on there, but in control. I love that. Let's go over to Micah Jones. How about you? What's going on race day?
For me, for like race day, kind of similar to Rainey. So like race day, my brain's automatically trying to just put down a good run, and what helps get my like mindset to that is basically just warming up and making sure your body's ready to go and ready to put down a fast race run.
Sick. And let's go over to Stu. How about you?
Making sure my bike's dialed, just making sure everything's dialed, and just warming up, stretching, and just keeping it fun. Like don't get over stressed about the race. Just make sure you're in a good mindset, like you're having a good time, and this is all it's all for fun.
That's awesome. That's good. That's a great mental space to be in. It's like be prepared, but then be light. Like if you make a little mistake, just smile. We'll get it on the next corner, versus throwing away the whole run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I love that. When it comes to the race run, do you guys kind of have an idea on where you are time-wise, or is it just blast it at the best that you can, and then you have a feeling that was a good run at the end?
So like you have a seeding run, like
For the most part.
in bigger
Big races.
downhill races, usually you have a seeding run, and that usually gives you an idea. You can either push hard and see where your standing is and see if you're close to the top or where you're at, and then depend on that and see if you want to push hard, like where you can push harder and stuff. Or you can take it more chill and then be a bit more conservative and not put down a heater and then risk crashing or something. And then you can figure out kind of where your time is and then where a good time would be and try to go for that time or better.
Calculated.
For me, I like to get all the fast times done in practice, so I don't have to rely on it when I'm racing. So I do fast laps. We're recording it on our GoPro as well, me and my brother. Sometimes we'll compare it and see like where we need to make up time, whether it's like letting off the brakes in a certain section or just cornering a different way. So normally I feel like by the end of the practice, I've pretty much found our speed on our GoPro. And then for the race run, like the only speed that we're gonna make up is pretty much gonna be the same speed as our practice laps, but then we're just gonna be pedaling a lot harder and try to connect oil lines really well.
Nice. I like that. So it's like you're breaking down the trail into sections, like where you can consistently be like throw down a heater, and then where you can make up some time and push just a little bit. It's kind of what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to know, like, if you can't put down that pace over certain rock gardens, then there's no reason in risking it in one rock garden, like knowing that you are pushing it past your limit. Like, you got to know your limit so you have a good, consistent run.
That's smart. That's smart. Yeah. God, there's so much strategy that goes behind that. It's not just take off and hope for the best. There's a lot of calculated stuff in there. When it comes to tracks, what are some of your guys' strengths and weaknesses when it comes to some of those areas of the track? And if you can think of a specific track, what is that?
For me, it's probably going to be like a loose track with a good amount of like pedaling, because that's what we ride a lot around here, is a lot of loose things. And we also do a lot of training and pedaling because there's a lot of big, steep climbs out here. We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think same as Micah. Definitely like loose, like definitely I'm a lot more used to that, and steep, and not used to the rain and like roots at all.
Yeah, roots are
When
sketchy.
it gets like rooty, like up in the Northwest, and I was just in North Carolina, and like the hits out there are a lot bigger than stuff here. So I think getting used to like bigger hits and like knowing that, okay, like I gotta do it. But yeah.
For me, I feel like the mud would be our gnarliest type of like not what we're good at, but what would be our disadvantage. I feel like the mud right now, because we don't get a lot of downpour out here in Cali, or SoCal. But I think the weaknesses are like almost our strengths, because that's like I like to find my weakness and then work on it. But yeah, mud, we can't really work on it that much because we don't have a lot of it, unless you want to pour buckets on like a certain section of the trail and then just like session it. But
yeah, for me, I would say I try not to have any weaknesses, but definitely the mud we don't get a ride in too much, so that's definitely something we could work on. But when it comes to race day or like any big races and it starts downpouring, I like to think of like everyone's got their limit on this track. All I got to do is stay in my head game and ride my own trail, ride my own limit, and race my race basically.
It's awesome.
And then like for me, like my ideal track would be kind of like Rainey or Micah's, something more loose with a bit more, like kind of like a variety. I like a variety, like bigger jumps, some flow sections, some tech sections with some corners and stuff. All that kind of stuff. Bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite track would be like a fast, loose, techie track. And definitely my biggest disadvantage is roots, mud, and then when it rains. We just don't have that out here. But it'd be really cool to ride a track like that. To ride a track where you haven't ridden the tech, you don't know the terrain that well, just to see how that feels, you know? It'd be really, really fun to do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How about you, Micah? Micah Jones.
Kind of like the same, like loose, kind of fast track with a good amount of like pedaling, because we have a lot of like steep climbs out here that take a lot of fitness. So that really
True.
helps us like build that up.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Oh, and I think like longer downhills are definitely harder. Like in Laguna, at least, like all the downhills are pretty short.
Because they're steep.
Yeah, because they're steep. So like if there's like a long downhill and it's just like consistently steep, I don't know, it just gets me super tired.
Yeah, for sure. Like in Laguna or San Clemente, most of our runs are probably like 2 minutes in that range. And then when you go out to like World Cups, there's some tracks that are like four minutes around there. And that's like double of what we're doing. And so you kind of have to find a different pace, not just pedaling, but also like strength through the rock gardens and stuff like that. Just got to be
I like your
finding
focus.
focus, because it's easy to lose control when you're fatigued halfway through your run.
That's why sometimes it's important, or one of our coaches actually taught us this, Coach Mike, to keep the intensity going. Like sometimes don't stop before the downhill, just to keep that intensity, because you never know when you're going to be racing a 4-minute course and you're just used to having really high race intensity for 2 minutes, and then sometimes you'll have it for 4 minutes, which you're not used to. So it's important sometimes just to like find a day where you can just pedal really like high intensity on the uphill, and then try to drop into that like without taking a break, so you can just see what it's like to be fatigued and keep it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Shout out
Like
to Coach Mike.
take that when you're more fatigued. Yeah, that's
It's not
smart.
fun, but it's worth it.
Right?
Sure.
See if you can keep that focus and technique right as you're going down the trail tired. Yeah, that makes sense. I had a friend she's a pro rider, and she was going to Tennessee, and she's like, "Oh my God, that track it sounds like some of the tracks you're talking about, like rooty, rocky, gnarly, everything's bigger, and it's just hard to get that training out here." But like what you said, what Coach Mike said, that's a good way to go about it. And then in reverse, I was in Whistler, and they're like, "Oh man, it's so dry and loose," and I thought it was loamy. I was like, "This is beautiful."
Yeah. Favorite loam out there. Best dirt ever.
Right? There's no dust. There's nothing. This is loose to you guys.
Never been to
When
SoCal.
right? When it comes to that type of riding, like you got the loose and you got the tech, and then you go somewhere else. Do you guys rely on the same tires that you normally race on because you're used to them, or do you switch it up to the event? How do you guys deal with that?
One thing we've been like really working with our coach about is like switching out tires, making sure, because I've been rode in mud in North Carolina and rode in mud in Washington. And so you got to make sure that the mud isn't like sticking and making it literally slick.
Ooh.
So we've been really working on like switching out our tires, see what's faster rolling for certain courses, really working on that, which is important. It's been a little bit of like trial and error, but it's good. It's really important.
Yeah, and then for my brother and I, we got picked up by Maxxis recently, and so we bought a bunch of Assegai tires for front and rear for like all our local trails loose. It's good for quartering, carrying speed, and then we have our high rollers, the new ones for front and rear, for the mud races. It just like kind of gets rid of all the mud under the tread, and just
it's got more space between each like tread. So the tread pattern is kind of more open and farther apart. So it doesn't get all the muds like sticking onto the tire, and then you can kind of find that grip in every like muddy section. So we do switch out our tires if we do end up having a muddy race, but we haven't had to use them yet so far.
And then another thing is in the mud or while it's raining or cold, your goggles tend to like fog up a lot easier. So we'll have like a little anti-fog spray that we'll put inside the lens and we'll run. Most of the time, we're running clear lens for goggles.
Smart. Smart.
Yeah.
And then like for me, at Sea Otter, because that track's like pretty flowy and pedally. There's like no really rocks. I like didn't have a tire setup that I wanted, and I just never switched out my tires. Like we didn't bring the right tires, and then we forgot to go buy tires, and it kind of wasn't great for. It was not great for the race. They kind of sucked to pedal.
Oh no.
And then like right after Sea Otter, we went to Washington, me and my sister, for that Northwest Cup, and I was on my downhill bike on that, and then I had to switch out my tires for that for the rain and loam and mud. So that definitely helped a lot compared to my other setup.
You could feel it, the traction.
Yeah, but I'd say for people that are watching this right now, like just get the tire that's kind of set for the condition that your trail is going to normally be. Don't get, I mean, unless you want to don't get really all the other ones. We're only naming all these ones because we're going different places and racing different areas. But if you have a tire that kind of fits the destination that you're living in with all this, whether it's like hard pack or dust or mud, kind of try to get those tires because, I mean, we're just doing it because of the racing for trying to get each and every little thing that can get us a little bit faster, whether it's mud or sand.
Yeah, and like when we were in Northwest Cup, I came around a corner in seating and slid out, and then like kind of went over the bars and hit the tree.
Oof.
But like, and then I got to the bottom, and then I was like that tire setup's not good. Like I just came around a corner and just slid out. So then we switched my tires for the race. Even though I didn't really have that much practice on it, it just made a lot of a difference.
I would imagine traction is huge. Being able to trust that bike and knowing where you can push it before it decides to do its own thing.
Yeah.
We have Steve Dorsey out of Durango, Colorado, saying North Carolina mud is scary. The routes become slippery and dangerous.
It is.
Yep.
The day we got there, or day I got there, it was like pretty soft mud, and like it'd been raining like a couple days before, and then it like dried out. Then night before the race, it rained, and race day it rained, and the course was slow running, the routes were slippery, but it was fun. There's like a couple like little like wood drops, and back to what they were saying about like goggles fogging up, I was like looking out of a fish lens. It was definitely a little
during the
scary,
run.
but yeah, I got some Rain-X on there and fixed it up, so it was okay.
Oh my god! I could not even imagine not being able to see on some of those
it was
those tracks you
scary.
got. That's insane. As far as gear goes, let's talk about that. Well, actually, we have another one here from a spokesman. He says, "Road DHR, DHF, Assegai, Aggressor, never felt a difference."
I think that really depends on where you're riding. But the Assegai and the Aggressor and the Assegai, they roll pretty fast. And the DHR and the DHF, they also roll pretty fast. But I'd say if you're riding mud or whether it's hard pack, I think you're going to notice a bigger difference in the high rollers because the high rollers are like set on the mud and the big, like a lot of dust. So the Assegai and the DHR, those two sets, they're kind of for the similar, they have a similar kind of, I don't know, riding style for them. So you might not notice a big difference, but they're both really good tires. So
nice, gotcha. That makes sense too. Like the bigger difference of tread pattern, you should feel a difference based on where you're riding them. It should perform a different way. Like in the mud, those high rollers sound like they would wick the mud away, so you're not on a slick like what Rainey was saying earlier, which would be super scary. I couldn't imagine. Being honest, like, I can really ride down some of these trails, so that'd be really freak me out. When it comes to gear, you guys, what kind of gear do you guys rely on when it comes to safety?
Definitely all downhill gear. You want to have like even on the days where you're pushing up the hill and you're not getting shuttled, or the days where you're pedaling and you're still riding gnarly trails. Me and my brother, we like to keep it all like downhill out, like D4 helmet from Troy Lee, and then the chest protector and back protector, knee pads always, and then gloves most of the time. But yeah, definitely have like whatever you can wear that's like super protective. I would wear all the time.
yeah, it's very important.
Love it.
Yeah.
You never know when you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
right?
And then for like me, I would say a big important one is knee pads. I'll ride no matter what if I'm racing downhill or going for a long pedal ride. And then it kind of just gear depends on the ride. If I'm doing like a cross country ride, I'll probably wear a half shell. But if I'm
Mm.
riding more gnarly trails, a full face helmet.
Yeah. And then
Right.
like I wear like similar stuff to them, but like for races, like that full thing. And then I also wear like these like padded like underwear things so that I have pads around my waist and stuff. And then I wear knee pads, those, and then like the chest protector, D4 helmet. And then if I'm just like riding enduro, I'll ride like knee pads, the padded underwear, and then like a half shell.
Nice.
And I do basically the same as him, but I double up on my chest protectors actually. I have the regular like TLD chest protector, it's like the plastic one, and then it has like the kind of like flimsy thing in the back, which is like really comfortable. But then I also got this other one in the D3O, and then there's another one that's more like a t-shirt, but it has shoulder pads. And I think that's important because you don't want to hit. So I'm double padded up. I think that's important.
Definitely makes a difference, especially on the smaller crashes where you didn't think it would hurt. It's like, okay, like I just lost a bunch of skin on my shoulders. If I just had that little bit of protection, it would have been like nothing. I could continue my ride and ride at my best. But it's just a bunch of little things that add up.
Yeah. And you guys are riding in this when you're talking about this is not just for race day. You guys are training in this gear too, or just regular rides?
Yeah.
Because
Damn.
it's not only dangerous when you're racing, it's dangerous all the time. So you always got to be prepared because one stupid little crash because you weren't wearing like a downhill helmet or whatever, that could like take you out of your whole race season and you won't get results and then you won't have the results for the sponsors and it just keeps adding up. So making sure you're geared up properly is very, very important.
And I feel like too when you're like shuttling, because we all shuttle a lot, you're pushing it when you're racing Strava times or anything like that. Like you're pushing it, and things happen. I think you gotta gear up a little bit.
Yeah.
Always be prepared. Better. What do they say? Better to have it and not need it.
and like if you just put on like all the protection just for your like race, like it just feels like different for me too. Like I'd rather like be used to all the gear I'm wearing for like race day. So then you're kind of like already used to. You're not like, well, I'm just chest protector so bulky, and you put on for race. You're like, can't like it just feels
move.
weird. Yeah, you're like, oh, it feels so stiff.
And I was like, me, my sister, and my coach were riding. We were training, doing shuttles, and I came in a section that I wouldn't even like think would be like gnarly that our coach was having us doing, and I just went over the bars and broke my wrist. So now I wear these, and that took me out for a while. So now I wear the Mobius brace. But like, if I like was wearing that before, I probably wouldn't have broke my wrist. But now I'm back. But yeah, now I wear those all the time.
We all learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Most mountain bikers.
Yeah.
The chest protectors have saved me a few times when I was out riding because I broke my collarbone and I would have like broke a few ribs if I didn't have that on.
Holy cow!
Always got with a chest protector.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I have a story that's pretty similar, but it was when I was out in Montana and I had a really gnarly crash on this jump line called 40 at Legacy Bike Park. I went over the bars over a berm, and I just remember floating and seeing the one big boulder in the entire grass field that I was going to just lawn dart into. And thankfully I had my downhill helmet, but I thought for sure I would have gotten like knocked out or something gnarly to my like head. But I remember when I was laying on the ground, like, and even the next week, I had no signs of a concussion. My head felt perfectly fine, but I had like a whole gnarly like gouge in the D4 helmet. And yeah, I was lucky to be okay from that. I don't know how. I still don't know how.
Yeah, it looked like a bear took a bite out of his helmet when he hit that rock. It was
totally fine. It was so
good. And you just got up. You're just like, oh.
Yeah. I didn't get up. I did break a couple vertebrae because it was a really high speed gnarly crash.
He like ended up going head first into the boulder.
Because it was a compression fracture.
Yeah, and he just compresses.
Like even if I had the gnarliest best chest protector, it still wouldn't have done enough because it wasn't from the impact that like fractured my vertebrae. It was how I flexed because I landed weird.
Oh yeah, God, just like full on, just crunched you like this, like
yeah.
Yo, I guess since we're on it, and we won't spend too much time on it because it's always like a type of feel. Let's talk about crashes real quick. Then we'll move on to something else.
Yeah.
We'll erase that from our memory. But it's also good to, look back at them and then kind of know what we did wrong. For me, I have a lot of things I'm working out to make sure that I don't crash again, but that's not going to happen. But for you guys, what are
Yeah,
some
I know.
that stand out?
Yeah, sorry. I know exactly where I went wrong with my crash, honestly. So we talked a lot about it because those big injuries you learn a lot from normally. And what I took out of that crash was taking my sight laps very properly instead of just kind of sending it on the first lap instead of taking sight laps.
Ooh, that's
So
good.
I was doing this gnarly jump line that was completely blind, and I was just super excited because we're on this big trip and whatever. So I wanted to send this really big shark fin, and I ended up overshooting it way too much because I didn't know the proper speed and I didn't take a proper sight lap. And that's if it weren't for that and me just taking a proper sight lap, I wouldn't have crashed. So sight laps are very important.
That's good. That's good. How about who else wants to reminisce real quick about an injury that or a crash and what you learned from it?
Just like my wrist on that one, I know where I went wrong. I came into that section and just got a little bit because it was like sand to rock, and then there was rock over here, and it's
Ooh.
like kind of like a lip, and you have to transfer to the right because there's rock on the other side. And I just came into that section and then was a little bit too far left, and my front tire just washed in that sand, and I got bucked over that rock and then landed. So I know if I could have hit that rut a bit better and stayed a bit farther right, I would have been fine. But
Dang.
Yeah. And then for me, I feel like I had a lot of injuries and crashes the first 2 years of like when I started mountain biking, and I was kind of the one in my family that was getting injured all the time and getting set back from them. And then I started to kind of I became more calculated. I learned a lot from my crashes and injuries, and then I also got a lot better at crashing, learning how to roll out of like my crashes or like avoiding my crashes and stuff like that. Like this last year, I've noticed a big difference when I hit the ground. I've been able to like roll out of it a lot better, or just kind of not stick to the ground and just get injured. And then also, like this year, I've had all my downhill gear on whenever I'm going down. So I feel like that's also a big factor for me.
Also, knowing where to push and where not to push, that's very important as well.
yeah.
True. Yeah.
And
good
I
point.
think, knock on wood, I haven't had too many bad injuries. I mean, when I was 5, this was before I like really started riding like seriously, but smashed my face. I split my nose open when I had 50 stitches in my nose, and I bit through my lip, and that's how I lost my first
Oh.
tooth. So that's kind of a
Whoa.
cool story.
Oh,
But
I hope the tooth fairy paid for that.
oh yeah.
Big money.
My plastic they had a plastic surgeon come in and stitch me up, and he gave me like I think $5. But so that was like after that I did not obviously really want to get on a bike again after that, but kind of overcame that obviously because now I'm riding a ton. But I think that was a pretty big crash. And then even like a few months ago, just trying to like figure out what lines are like worth it and what aren't. Like there's just a couple lines, like I came in a little too hot in a corner and my front wheel went off the berm a little bit, and I just kind of like bam and just smacked like that, and I screwed up my shoulder, concussion, and that just like set me back. I feel like just taking like unnecessary chances, like it just isn't worth it.
That's a good thought process. Yeah, like think to yourself why, like, right? That's kind of what I'm hearing you say is like,
yeah, my dad like
is it
says a
worth
lot.
it?
He's like, okay, do you like need to do this? Is this something you really need to do? Because if you crash, like it's not worth it. It's
Yeah,
not
like
worth it.
like at nationals last year at Rock Creek, there was this like diving board gap where it's like 15 feet down and then 40 feet out, and you
It's
gotta
big.
have it's big, and you gotta have like a lot of speed. And at the time, I was like 90 pounds, like I was not heavy enough, like at all.
My goodness.
I followed this person into it, and I just sprinted as hard as I could and pulled up as hard as I could. And just because like I frame cased it and I blew up my front rim, and I was on my DH bike, and it was I didn't crash somehow, but I like Superman down the landing. It was so sketchy, but it was like an unnecessary risk that I needed to take, so that I didn't need to take. So yeah, and then like even like overuse of stuff. Like I've been having like tendonitis in my elbow that's been affecting me for like a couple years now, and I have to take like Advil whenever I ride or something, which sucks. And then at Sea Otter a couple years ago, I just from overuse, I like stretched my ACL and my patella tendon, and then I like did something to my bone, and that set me back for like 10 weeks or something like that,
Dang.
which
Wow.
sucked.
Yeah. Yeah,
Another
that
one-
would. Oh,
Sorry.
go for it, brother.
Another one is making sure your bike's like set up for you. Because I broke this collarbone and then I came back and I got on a DH bike, and then I didn't have the right coil for the shock. It was on a 550. I should be on like a 350. So I got bugged up at the track up in Big Bell,
Crestline.
and I broke my other collarbone 2 weeks after breaking this collarbone.
Oh,
So I've
geez.
been. So then it was 5 weeks off to another 5 weeks off.
Damn.
So that was just a big bummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Have
like
you been-
races.
Anything to minimize like the risk of crashing. So just knowing where to push and where not to push, taking your sight laps properly, and then making sure your bike's set up perfectly. Because if those aren't set, then you should take a step back and make sure it is. So
Yeah, that's dude. Well said. Well said. Micah, how about you or Malik? Sorry, no, Micah. Sorry.
For me, a big thing is just making sure you're just strong and healthy, which has really helped me like prevent like having injuries, crashing, and just like putting the time in like the gym and stretching and stuff really helps like prevent injuries.
For sure. Adding on to that, like stretching has been a big one this year for me and Micah and Jones. Like you just said, stretching helps a lot. Like if you get in an uncomfortable position when you crash and you don't stretch, then it's like a whole lot easier for like a bone or like a tendon or something just to like break or fall apart. It's like just something that you should be doing every night for like 30 minutes or before your ride even. Just getting a good stretch in, especially when you're training super hard and your muscles are really tight and like you're going on the trail fatigued and stuff like that. You want to be prepared.
I also think it's really important, like after you crash, like to stretch if it's not too bad, but like it's really important to stretch so that you don't feel like you got hit by a bus the next morning. Because I know I feel that way. You get all tight and you're just like can't move. So I think like after you crash, like just stretch out a little bit, and then you don't feel so horrible in the morning.
That's a great tip. Yes, definitely. How about you, Dylan? Anything back there that comes to mind?
For crashes, is it for crashes?
Skull drop.
Yeah.
Skull drop was pretty bad. I know, like, actually, I got a concussion, so I don't remember, but they said I just, like, nose cased, like, went off and just got nose heavy and crashed, and, like, got a super, like, just head right into the ground, and that was super, that, like, I didn't remember, like, before, like, dropping into it, and I didn't remember till, like, I got home, which was, like, an hour later, or no, like, 30 minutes later, and, that was pretty bad, one, and I think concussions are definitely the worst type of injury you could have because you don't really know like what's going on inside your head. There's no like steps to healing. It's not like a bone where they can like okay 5 weeks and then you can like feel the difference. It's like they'll come like in and out.
Yeah, and they'll add up. Concussions add up.
Yeah, for
Broken
me,
bones.
those have been the worst injuries, concussions. Like 2 years ago, we took a 4-week trip up in Whistler, and we were doing a rainy day bike park session on this one trail called Tatiana, and there's this last section on it with a super steep rock slab, and with the rain on top of it, it's super slick. It looked like there was a bunch of snot on top of it, and we were all looking at the top. We're like from the top, and we were like, "Oh, this is bad. There's no way we're doing it." And then I get up behind my brother, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna just go for it." And in the running, there's a bunch of roots, and so right when I went into it, my back tire caught a root, and it kind of threw me the opposite way of the corner at the bottom.
Oh no!
And I couldn't brake hard enough because it was just like so slick. I was locked out and just going super fast, gaining speed down it. I hit the berm and just flew like face first into a tree and like tossed my body around. And I
Oh,
think I was knocked out for a little bit, and then right after it, when we headed out, yeah, like a week or two, we headed out to do Woodward at Truckee Bike Park, and I was just like having fun on this blue line, and I went to go air on top of this shark or this whale tail. I aired too far. I remember braking as hard as I can, so I went at case the landing after, like airing off of it, and I was going too fast, so I like my front tire creeped off of the wood structure, yeah, the whale tail, and I went head first into like the top of the landing, and I was out for like a long time. I had like a whole dream, but basically like giving time between injuries, the proper time, make sure you're 100% recovered is so important. But yeah,
it's really good advice. Yeah, it's hard too as us as mountain bikers because that's the number one place we want to be is like back on the bike. It makes us happy. It's such a fun place to be, and it fulfills a lot of our stoke. Things that we're always chasing after. Spokesman in Durango saying, how long did it take to come back from that 10 weeks off?
I'm just getting back to it. Like your fitness really takes a hit from that, so you have to like build up, just ease into it. Like don't immediately have to push yourself. Like just riding control, and just make sure just to take time to get back. You don't need to instantly be as good as you used to be. Take time to build the fitness, build the confidence back, and really do that and you'll be fine.
Love it. I love it.
You guys got PT?
Yeah, I also I did PT at this place. I don't know the name, but my guy was Dustin, and he really helped me out doing certain workouts, certain types of stretch to get mobility back. So like PT, like some people don't want to do it, they don't want to take the time, but it really helps you out.
That's good. The great advice. Definitely great advice. I don't know why people skip out on PT. PT's it can be fun. It can be a lot of fun. When it comes to like the whole mental aspect of the sport that we all love, mountain biking, whether you're racing or just out there for a cash or doing like a family ride, this is for everybody. Like, what is it about mountain biking that you love so much? If you can sum it up in a couple of sentences, like what's the draw? What makes you want to come back and throw your leg over that bike again and again?
For me, what it is, I think the main things is the great community, the adrenaline rush you get from like learning new things and pushing yourself, and then just like the great stories you get from it. But mostly the great community because there's so many great people, great friends, and a lot of people that you'll meet out of it that are really good people.
Love
Yeah,
that.
and I like kind of like Micah said, I really like that just like adrenaline rush, and then like with all my friends and stuff, like party laps on like shuttling or something is just so fun. Just like and like the flow of the trail, hitting like some corners or some jumps like sick, just feels so good.
And I feel
So
like you
good.
get to see so many cool new things and go to so many places, and it's just like you get to
Right?
just explore and see life. And it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and then for like me, I love being out in like nature and just really exploring it and seeing everything that's like it's really pretty and stuff. A lot of
Yeah.
these places you're able to go riding.
So
Yeah.
true.
on top of all of that, I would say for me, being able to push yourself not only physically but like mentally when you're going out to like the race scene or even conquering like a bunch of new jumps. There's like a lot of mental games, so it's nice to be able to push yourself mentally and physically.
Love it.
One thing that I love is like the freedom. Like everyone rides different. They all hit features differently. Like it's not a sport where everything's the same. Everyone like kind of does the same thing. Like everyone has their own unique style, and they all add their own aspect to their biking. So it's really cool to see how everyone does that, and they take a little bit from everyone and make it into your own.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna
true.
say something similar again because it's like you never really get used to it. You don't get bored of it because there's so many different styles. You can just keep trying new things on the bikes.
Yes. Love it. How about you, Dylan?
Oh yeah, and just like I don't know, you when you're riding, you gotta like focus like I feel like you're so like zoned in, like so like you don't really think about anything else. At least like when you're going downhill. So it I don't know, just kind of gets like your mind off everything else, and I think that's just like the part I like about it most, because you're not really thinking about like everything else that's going on in your life. It's just like riding and like having fun with your friends.
Or try not to die on the trail.
Yeah.
Go fast, don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be one of my favorites too, Dylan, is like it's almost like meditative. You're out there and to Micah's point too, it's green, it's beautiful. Wherever you are, you're taking it in and you're in the moment. You can't be thinking about this or that. You're just in this happy space, and then you're progressing and you're learning, and then you look over and you've got your friends, or you're in a big train and everyone's talking about, that last lap. I feel like there's nothing like it. It's such a good feeling. And I'm sure, it comes across in your style, it comes across in your personality when you're talking to people, and I think it filters into our regular life. Like when it comes to hard things in life and you think about it, like I've done some amazing hard stuff on the bike. Yeah, this isn't as hard as I thought. This, whatever it is, like, school thing or whatever. It's like I can do this. I've done harder things, which is really cool. I think it's unique about our sport. It teaches us about being successful in the real world, which is awesome. As far as like thanking people and sponsors and parents and stuff like that, who would you like to say thank you to kind of whoever it was that introduced you to the sport or has helped you develop into the sport? Who would you like to give a shout out to?
You guys want to go down?
Sure, we could
Yeah.
go down.
Yeah.
I really want to thank my dad and my mom too, but my dad really got me into it. And sponsor wise, Troy Lee helps me out tremendously. Malik and I, Bike Works, an insane amount of help from them. I really, really am so appreciative. Shimano, of course, T9 Bow Shield, Pelli, and yeah, I'm just so grateful for like the opportunities that I have and Malik and I have together. So yeah.
Yeah, and then like I'm like the exact same as her. Like my dad started me at a really young age, so I'd really like to thank him. And then like my just like whole family, like my mom, my grandparents helped a lot too. And then all the sponsors that she listed are the same for me, and I'd love to thank them.
For me, I would say my biggest thank you and shout out would be obviously my dad. He's been like there since day one, obviously, and he played every role that I could ever ask for, and getting us into the biking industry. He's got connections and stuff like that. He got us into biking around 3 years ago, almost 4, with his buddy Zolt. He has been biking for as long as I can remember, and so we got started biking 4 years ago, got really hooked into it. And for sponsors, I want to thank Shimano for helping us get into the industry and becoming more familiar with everything. And yeah, they've been a big help. And then also Payable. Me and Micah, we recently picked up Payable apps, and they've been funding for our racing and stuff like that. And yeah, big shout out to them. And also Monster, they've been a big help for paying for podiums, and also Better Bolts and Freedom Coast. They are a big help. They picked us up when we were just up and coming. Like no one really saw us coming up, and they reached out to us, and they gave us a lot of support for sure. So big thanks to everyone that's been helping out. But yeah, mostly my dad for sure.
Dang, I'm seeing a common theme in here. Being a dad myself, it's like something in my eye. My eye is watering a little bit. Shout out to the mountain bike dads.
And then for me, I'd like to thank my mom and dad for just like continued support. And then I'd also like to thank the Laguna Canyon Riders program and everybody that puts that on, because they've been a big step in my like riding and like helping me meet new people. And then also Steve Blick with Shimano. He's been a lot of help with just me helping network, and also all my other sponsors I'd like to also thank.
Awesome.
Yeah. I want to give a big shout out to my dad and mom. They've done a lot for me to be able to race, be able to ride. Shimano for all their support. Laguna Bike Shed, he's been helping me not just working on my bike, but also teaching me how to work on my bike.
Nice.
Which really nice of him. Yeah, Ty. And SSB and Laguna Canyon Riders. So Laguna Canyon Riders, like I started biking, but I didn't really understand what mountain biking was. Like my friend was like, "It's a fun sport, try it." But I joined Laguna Canyon Riders, and they really like showed me what it is. They introduced me. They taught me like how to ride like downhill, and it's a really big help for me.
And I'd say I have to thank both my parents, my dad for being super committed and more committed than anyone I'll ever know to me and CJ's our biking career, and also teaching us to become the best person we can, like really good, disciplined, and respectable, and just all the traits we need to be a really great person. And then my mom, because she supports and cares for us so much. And then I'd like to thank Shimano for teaching us like all these things it takes to become a really good ambassador, and just teaching us what sponsorship really means. And then Better Bolts and Freedom Coast, because they picked us up early, like CJ was saying, and they just saw the potential in us, which really means a lot to me and my brother. And then I'd also like to thank Payable Apps, because they also saw that we have a lot of potential, and they like to fund our racing and help my dad out. And then also Laguna Canyon Riders, because our coaches like Fiona and them, they're very committed as well into all 7 of us, and they're trying to are their best to kind of guide us through sponsorship and racing and everything. So yeah.
And for me, my mom, my dad, for like just always like sticking behind me and like making sure I get through like races too and riding, progressing, but also through school. My mom like wants that as a priority for sure. And Mike and Fiona from the bike team, I don't know how long I've been riding with them, but like a while, like even through like COVID and way before that, just like it was a smaller team before. It was still called Laguna Canyon Riders, but it was like when I was super young and I just joined the team, and like I wasn't even supposed to be on the team, but they like let me in for a few rides, and they've just been super helpful throughout my life so far. Surfing, golfing, mountain biking, whatever it is. I've been like with Mike and Fiona. Crank Brothers crew are super big too. I rode like my mom was like, you have to ride with an adult when you ride, so I rode with them for like a super long time, and just like whatever, just texted like Gaspar at Crank Brothers like, are you able to ride this weekend? And he's like, oh sure. And then I ride with them, and they've just been super helpful, like getting me shoes and pedals or whatever, and just like company. And Shimano Blick, known Blick for a while, and through the Rads group, and he's just like a super nice guy. I just look up to him a lot. Yeah.
And then to add on for my brother and I, we also want to give a big shout out to all of our other sponsors we didn't mention. Everything helps, and it's great seeing how much we get in return for all the work we put in. So it's really nice seeing how strong the community is in industry.
That's awesome. Gosh, you guys are like pushing the industry, pushing the future of our sport. I'm super stoked to have you guys highlighted on the Segment Podcast. I really appreciate you guys being here. Before we let you go, if people are listening to this and wherever they are and they want to follow you all on Instagram, if you guys have it set for public or not, but if you guys wouldn't mind just telling them where they can follow you guys. And then, say your name too for the people on Apple iTunes and Spotify, because they can't see you.
We're all public, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
We're all public.
Yes,
Okay, so Rainy Wyman, my Instagram is just Rainy Wyman _. Follow me on there, and that's where you find everything.
And then I'm Malik Wyman, and then my Instagram is Malik Wyman _. And then yeah, you can see everything on there. So go follow me on that.
I'm CJ Figueroa, and I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I have the same handle for everything, and it's CJ Fig MTB, or CJ Fig _MTB to be clear. But yeah, you can search up my name and it'll probably pop up. And then we also have a twin account called Figueroa Twins. And yeah.
And then for me, my Instagram handle is Micah Jones 2020.
My Instagram handle is Stu _. Yeah.
And then my handle for all my social medias as well is I'm Mikah Figueroa, so just to make that clear. Mine is Figueroa.Micah, and if you don't know how to spell Figueroa, it's Figueroa. And yeah, you can find me on all the social medias just like my brother.
I'm Dylan Lee. I just got Instagram, or I didn't just get it, but I just have Instagram. Like no TikTok or YouTube or anything. And mine's Dylan Lee 55, and they can follow me on there. 17 years old.
Yeah, go follow this crew from the Shimano 7. Epic. I don't even want to say kids. Like, we had a full-on adult podcast. You guys are awesome. I love how
Young
you
adults.
yeah, I love how you guys just present yourself. So thank you so much for, without even knowing it, representing our community in such a positive way, in such a professional way. You guys are awesome. In fact, we have here's a comment here. Teddy Parker saying, "Them Fig Boys. I'd love to film a Shred It with the Figgy Twins one day." Oh yeah.
Do it.
Shout out to there. Teddy Parker says, "Thanks for hosting this awesome MTB story, Mark. I think I'm attending my first race this year, bringing my camera if it can focus fast enough for these kids." So yeah, don't yeah,
Get some
yeah,
ski shots on some jumps.
yes. Ski shots, shredded edits for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again so much. Thank you so much to Milo for helping set this up at OC Bike Works. You guys are
Milo's over
amazing.
there. Thanks, Milo.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Milo.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having us, Mark.
Yeah,
Love
Later,
having you
Mark.
guys
stoked on
on.
the opportunity. Yeah, I
So
think it's-
good. I can't wait to see what you guys do. It's going to be amazing. And thanks for pushing our sport in such a great way. Ladies and gentlemen, the Shimano 7. We'll see you guys out on the trail.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys in the video.
Later, Mark. Thank you.
You got it.